All right, welcome back to This is Balance with me, Ben. I'm really excited for this part two video to be recording for you guys. It has been a few days. It's been something I just want to keep getting off my chest, which is a really positive sign, I think, for starting a channel on YouTube because you got to have something to say, and I feel like I definitely do with the kind of stuff we're talking about here. So I'm going to pick up right where I left off, and I was talking about my experience with sex and just my basically my struggle with it up until a few months ago, and it kind of got everybody current and up to date, and up to the point where I found White Tantra. So I found White Tantra through another YouTube channel, which I highly recommend you check out. It's a White Tantra channel with the name of Astral Doorway. It's run by a guy named Gene. I don't know his last name. And he's a very spiritual, very articulate guy. I'd say he's in his 30s, something like that. And has been clearly practicing different spiritual techniques and understandings for years. And those are the kind of people that I love to listen to. So if that's the kind of stuff that you also dig, I highly recommend checking out Astral Doorway. Astral Doorway. But I learned just about everything I know still about White Tantra from this guy Gene. And he really breaks it down well in this video that's called, I believe, Sacred Sexuality on his channel, or Sexual Alchemy. And those are just a couple catch-all phrases for White Tantra, which is really what we're talking about here. And if we go back to what White Tantra is sex without orgasm. A very, very unpopular idea in the modern world today. You're not going to find many people. I'm going to try to put a hashtag below this video, and please like and share the video if you like what I'm talking about here. I'm going to put a hashtag below this video of White Tantra to try to pull more people in who care about, hearing about this stuff. But it's not mainstream by any stretch of the imagination. But what the pull is for me, and why I want to do something that is so seemingly difficult and hard and frustrating, is how I feel when I'm practicing it and I'm succeeding with it. And I didn't know it was called White Tantra when I used to, in my days before, like I said, practicing NoFap, being in 12-step recovery for sex addiction. I didn't call it White Tantra. I just called it abstaining from porn and orgasm. It really, really changed my life when I started to do this stuff. I went from walking around the world drained, kind of like, I don't want to say like soulless, but just empty, grasping at straws boy into a budding man because I took control of my sexual energy. And your sexual energy is your most important and powerful power that you have. It's something you want to get a grasp on, and it's something you want to know the condition of each day of your life. It's gonna inform you highly about why you're feeling the way you are in this moment now. Chances are, could be you ate something bad the night before, you ate something that was very dense and you don't feel very good and cheerful. But if you are to look at it and really find out and look where you are in your sort of cycle sexually, did you just orgasm? Have you been holding off and protecting your, if you're a guy, protecting your seed for weeks, you're going to feel a lot different that day, depending on what your answer is. And I think these videos would also be really great for women to listen to. But I do often try to just speak on what I know and my perspective and my experiences, and hopefully I can start to integrate some more things I read and some more kind of ideas that come up for me that might help women out too who are on this same path. So it brings me now to where I am today. And that's kind of what these videos are going to be a lot about, is just a very like simple kind of blog of, or vlog, sorry, I should say vlog, where it's like, this is where I'm at today. And I'm a dude in real life practicing this shit. I'm somebody out here who's actually wanting to try it and see if I can succeed at it and implement it and integrate it into my life. So where I am today is about, this is why this journey is so hard. If you're a modern day person and you are familiar with pornography and you have a history with pornography in your adolescent life, it fucks with your mind. It fucks with your mind. And so not 10 days ago, I was saying to myself, yeah, I'm doing white tantra and that's me and that's who I am now, but maybe I can do white tantra and also watch porn, and just watch porn and not engage in the orgasm part at the end. It's a ridiculous idea because I know porn's not good for me. I know it's not good for my brain. I know how I feel when I'm using it versus when I'm off of it. I want to be having that latter experience where I'm off of it. But sure enough, going back and using it, whatever, 8 or 10 days ago, I got sucked back into the just vortex of that crazy stimulus, which porn is. And I started convincing myself that, oh, I can use this, it's fine. And it's not. So I made a new resolution to myself on my phone today. And if you're on this path, you're going to be having a lot of conversations with yourself and contradicting yourself and kind of betraying yourself and coming back around and having to have a lot of grace with yourself and say, okay, I'm going to try this again. I'm not going to be mad at myself for basically getting tricked by my mind. It's kind of where I was at today, and I made a resolution that said, no porn, no orgasm. That is what my program is. That is what my rules are around sex with myself. And so that's my accountability with this channel and with you guys, is those are my rules. How I navigate those rules and how I find new, better ways to have sex with a partner and with myself is what this channel is all about. And that's what, in a nutshell, White Tantra is. There are massive energetic benefits to White Tantra, and there are beautiful, esoteric things that happen as you continue to practice White Tantra. And that kind of stuff, if you're interested in that, the deeper spiritual stuff, would be found in that video by Gene on Astral Doorway. That is something to really look at if you want to dive deeper into this stuff. But as far as a check-in for me and where I'm at today, it has been 5 or 6 days since I've orgasmed. It has been about 6 or a little more than that days since I've watched porn. And I feel great. I feel great. I feel in my own energy, and I feel strong in that energy. One of my mantras lately has been, I am a pillar for those around me. and that is absolutely true. When I look around and I take a second, I'm at my job, for instance, I take a second to just take a breath, and I look up and I feel the moment out and my role in it. I am a pillar for those in my life, and it's because of this practice. It's because I care to work on this stuff and to be disciplined and to want more out of my sexuality. And I think there's a lot of people out there who are going to want that too in the days to come going forward, and you great people watching this channel. It's just one of the many benefits you get from a life of White Tantra, a life of sexual discipline. So, going forward, I really just wanted to finish up what I had said in the last video and just do a check-in and kind of say what I plan to do going forward. You will encounter, and I would love for people who are starting this path themselves, inspired by what I'm doing possibly, or what Gene is doing on Astral Doorway, or some other person, to comment below and say, this is what I'm doing, I'm day whatever, I'm practicing this, I'm not doing the porn part, it's too hard, or whatever it is for you. To comment below and share what you're doing. But the White Tantra part of your day every day is not necessarily going to be glamorous. It's a lot of times going to be, how do I interact with a world that is constantly overstimulating? There's sex on TV, there's sex on buses, sex in movies, there's sex on the news, there's sex all over social media and the internet. We're inundated with it, and whatever your cup of tea is every day, whether it's going on social media, Instagram, Twitter, or it is you're more of a reading books type, but you do go on the internet to look at the news and see what's happening, you're gonna be seeing images that are going to stimulate your mind, and not for the better. They're going to stimulate you in a primal, raw, sexual way that's going to kind of prod you to be sexual. And it's in that moment where I choose how I respond. And it's a very difficult practice to control that moment when you are getting that trigger. But, and I don't have it perfected myself, but I'm out here doing it and loving that I keep coming back to this practice and this discipline, even though it's hard, because I know it's worth it. Some things that work for me in that moment when you are triggered: taking walks, exercising, meditating. Good luck with that. In the moment, it's going to be very hard. Maybe something more realistic would be like a conscious breath. Just breathing and taking a second to, okay, look around. What do I see? What do I hear? What do I taste? What do I touch? Kind of thing. Mindfulness is a big deal around this stuff, because usually we are doing our life and we're going along, and then we're hit by something that triggers us, inspires us to be sexual for healthy reasons or not. And if you're somebody who's been addicted to porn in his life, like me, you want to go right to porn. I have to choose to reach for something different. Conscious breathing, mindfulness really does work. And it's walking can do wonders for you. Take a long walk or do a workout. Or you can be sexual, but in a different way. personally, what I do, what I love right now, and what I feel is a very healthy plan B to using porn is I masturbate and just do as slow of a kind of process and experience of it, 20, 25 minutes, whatever, ideally, as I can. And I just slow it down and I calm myself down. I'm not perfect at it, but that's what I try to do. And I just enjoy the good feeling of it and the physical sensations. And I use my mind to imagine stuff and get aroused and stuff like that. And that really often, you set a timer on your phone, the 25 minutes goes off. Maybe I go a little over sometimes. But usually that timer goes off and I feel good. And I feel like I have met one of my needs. And that's what sex really is, I think. It's a basic human need that we have. And if we push it into a corner and say it doesn't exist, we get these problems and we get these I'm trying to think of a very psychological scientific word. I can't think of it right now. But we get these kind of like maladjustments where instead of just taking care of the need, we do something completely different and overdo it. And I've been very guilty of that in my life. And we can either go to a very far extreme and be too much doing that, or we can deny it completely, and that has its other host of problems. So sex to me is a basic need that we all have, and it needs to be honored and respected and and given to us. We need to give it to ourselves. We need to give it to ourselves. But that has been a really, really healthy new habit for me. I have a girl I'm dating. It's a pretty great relationship, and we have been on and off seeing each other for something over a year, something like that. And I met her and engaged in that relationship because of all the work I have been doing for 8+ years. Wouldn't have happened otherwise. So again, this journey of sexual discipline and sacred sexuality, white tantra, really, really changes your life. It really does. But for those out there who do not have a significant other, this is a great practice for you to return to. It's kind of a return to innocence with sex. And we all have different experiences that we've had that have led up to where we're at now. And some of them have helped us and moved us forward in our understanding, for sure. A lot of those just first kind of kisses or first dates are really healthy and positive for the brain. Some perhaps have not been. Abusive spouses, addictions to drugs or porn or something else, dangerous, unhealthy personalities even, have led us to having crappy experiences around sex a lot of times. In this practice, you shut the door of your bedroom. It's just you. You're able to honor the fact that you have sexual energy and you are a sexual being in your essence, in who you are. You are a sexual being, and you get to go take care of yourself, pamper yourself for however long you want. I recommend a controlled, measured time, because then you're saying, no matter what, I'm going to give myself this. And this is what I need, so I give myself that. And I don't stop before the timer goes off. I always give myself X minutes of self-love. starting to do that builds a healthy connection with yourself and your sexuality again, and it returns some innocence to you and your relationship to your sexuality and to your sexual organs themselves. A lot of times we have really fucked up relationships with our organs themselves down there. I'm somebody who's definitely that's the case for. I have not seen a doctor or had any kind of clinical help with this. I just noticed after a while, when I really look at the trend of how I look at myself with sex and look at myself sexually, I really don't like myself, you know. You may find that if you start to ask questions about it, and so just another reason to practice starting to heal that, mend that relationship. I've found that to be really beneficial. And then to close this video out, if you do have a partner, this is where the white tantra part really comes into play, because every one of us is an individual and has a need, is not always going to be able to have a partner, be able to be sexual with them in that moment when they want to be sexual, or when it's a time that they have in a disciplined way written out, I'm going to be sexual with myself every blank days. Your partner might not want to do that day. They're not going to be there every day. So how you are with yourself sexually is very important individually, I would say. So cultivate that practice, or a practice that you come up with on your own that returns safety and returns, I would say, non-compulsivity to your sex and your sex life with yourself. But if you have a partner, white tantra is the coming together, the union of two people practicing sexual discipline, practicing sacred sexuality. When they come together with the right intentions, and when they practice white tantra in this way that, instead of arousing both of the people involved, and excuse me, and shooting the intensity up, and then crashing the systems with orgasms for both people, one or both partners. This is a coming together of two people to be sexual together, but have the intention of non-orgasm. So it becomes a completely different act. So you're not there to animalistically have sex with each other. You're not there to fuck. You're there to come into union together and feel a shared, built up energy, because you're two people coming together. That some very powerful stuff happens when two beings come together like that. And I am just starting to be able to have that kind of relationship with my partner. You may need to work up to just your own desire to try this. You may just want to keep having, regular, as you have known it, sex with your partner, and that's fine. Be gentle with yourself as you start to explore this, and just know that if you're with a partner, that's the ideal way to start to really practice white tantra and explore sacred sexuality in a way that actually changes your life. I'm going to leave you there. This has been Ben, and this is Balance.